Okay. So much in the poroni to some sonjik and you over knit. Ronsen chukung satanzip, Tavalam Shabla Sorvande, Dawson Chula Yer. Susan Dungar Chendrache in Chen, Yarsume Ponhua Jelas. Same chantant near the Donchana, Tambanam Jinin Tatar the soul. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. Today is, I think, is the internet is okay. Are you there? And now it's like almost at more than 1 week. We explored or traveled different countries or the realms, and specifically we are checking out, investigate in the lower realms, and the meaning of the lower realms, inferior realms. That means it's like physically, mentally, verbally, the basic, and there's nothing kind of the deviation or like the classification. All the sentient beings is the same, not different. But in the relative perspective, and according the situation, and there's a kind of automatically some classifications. This is obvious. And even you are happy or not to say that, of course we can to say it's like everybody is the same, what is different? This is my perspective or my understanding is more in the ultimate level. The natural reality or the really in the inherently maybe it is the same. Absolutely no different. Samsara nirvana is same. And humans and animals or the sentient beings as Buddha same. But in the relatively, there are different degrees. We can to look in our world. Some countries are very much kind of the rich, superiors, and everything is fantastic. Food, clothes, shelter, condition, social is like kind of the sport, everything. Some countries is awful. There's some things like a lot of corruption, and also it's like poor, poverty, war, sickness, and a lot of hungry, thirsty, and almost not enough money, food, clothes, shelter. This is the obvious. This kind of the occurring. We can to look at the ground. Some in the ground, like earth. Some ground of the earth, it's a grow up vegetations, flower, whatever there's green things, fantastic. But some in the ground, desert, no water, no grass. Why? It's kind of the occur. Maybe there is some cause. Maybe there is some condition. Cause and conditions is coming up. Then these cause and conditions very much functionate or productive. And then this is like inevitably result like this. Then there is the like higher, middle, low, and we can to say. There's nothing kind of the high, middle, low. It's like how do you say, someone's like to put high throne or like high on the mountain, not like this. Just the situations. For example, maybe it's like if you're 100 people to sit in the seat on the same level ground, there's nothing the different attitude measure from the lake, from the sea. And everybody is maybe living on the one like kind of the 1,000 attitudes levels. Same caution, some matters, everything. Maybe it's that, but then it's each individual, there is a kind of different levels. Maybe someone's beautiful, someone's like ugly, someone's midi, someone has such disturbing emotions, someone's not. Someone is like very much poor, someone's maybe not. Someone's very much emotional, someone's not emotional. And this kind of, to say is, now here is we talking about the inferiors, superiors means. It's like more how much samsaric defects, damaged, influence, and kind of the infected to those some in the, our family of the sentient beings. Like last one or more than 1 week, we researched some in the most samsaric defects areas. Like a kind of we say is like, oh, this time the coronavirus hit some and this area, that area. So, like this, the coronavirus of the samsaric defects. And this defect is like more hurted into some in the area, and we call the hell areas, hungry, like kind of the pretas areas. And that is like when we explore, when we analyze, investigate, it's a really very much strong heated by sufferings. Like for example, some is like different countries. Maybe it's like a earthquake, maybe it's a tsunami, maybe tornado, and different natural disasters to hit some areas. But some areas, no problem, everybody is at peace, quiet. Some is like natural disasters hit, families died, destroyed the house, a lot of kind of like destroyed, lost life, damaged, and like this, and turmoil there. Then it's like when we look at in the news to say, oh, these natural disasters hit or like kind of the make problems in this area, that area. And if we could go to there, it is incredible sufferings. For example, a few years ago in Tibet, Yeshu, of course in China and the Tibet border, there is like kind of earthquake. You know, it's like in a Yeshu, it's like just a few seconds, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, the earthquake, how many thousand people died, and someone's injured, and someone's like parents died, children alive. Very many is orphanages. And then his children died, parents left. Whole life, the disaster sufferings happen. And then is of course there are another some in the areas. But of course someone's running to there to understand this situation, to help, give food, and to dig, to take out the corpse. And someone's like arrested, like rescued or saved. They took from the ground, stay alive. And how much appreciate it like this. This is like exactly like this kind of happened. And therefore also it's like hell realms. There's something, it's natural disaster, something is happened. Maybe of course we can to say it's like once is their own each individual like negative actions or result. But anyway, also those sentient beings, maybe they don't want to receive this such defects. But it's like they made mistake, same as we are. We cannot to say their business. Maybe it's no existence. Maybe even there is hell beings. I'm not there. We cannot to say like this. We should to research, and also it's like now we are in the middle of the pretas. And there is like two kind of the different pretas type of. Someone is like a kind of the normally pretas, the hungry ghost realms. It's like uncertainty is they living many different way, and someone is in the kind of the collective sampritas, and of course they're externally sufferings and internally is sufferings. Specifically they are sufferings, particularly the result or effect comes from the avarice, or it is like stinginess, and like kind of causing these disturbing emotions, and then they result into this kind of hunger goes. And also it's like we are now it's like more investigating in the like a specific obscuration for those pretas. And I don't know, in according to your page, and I'm is like yesterday we read the story of the, I think it's like a Katayana, I think so, the noble Katayana, and he is like kind of sometime to times he can to have or has appearances of like pretas, and then it's like he can to communicate, he can to talk, and like this. And once it's like also he went like Prita's land, and then he's like yesterday I think he's met one lady, and she has 500 children, and then it's like 500 or like many, and then it's like her husband is went to in the Buddha Gaya to searching for the food, and then it's like this lady asked to the noble Katayana, if you go to the Buddha Gaya, if you saw the like my husband, and then it's, could you tell to him, if you not come back, then your children's wife is going to die. And then later it's like the noble Katayana, I think it's Katayana, yes, or the Katayana, and he went to in the Buddha Gaya, and near the some their place, one is like the novice monk, maybe it's like the beginner, the one monk to enter into the monasteries. He is like a kind of the making the like a water dharma offerings, and outside, and then certainly there are many kind of the pretas is like kind of coming, just stealing to get some food and some dharmas, and then of course he saw there is a look like the similarity of the these Puritas ladies detail about her husband. There's such a kind of one person is ugly and like this, and the noble Katayana, he asked to him, are you like this her husband? Maybe the Purita say, yes, I am. And then is he give the message, his wife's message. Then it's like then it's like how it's like he sent it to message, and of course, and the husband replied to say, it's like, I have wandered around here the 12 years, but I never got a thing except the once. 12 years he got it once. Which kind of he got it, we don't know. 12 years he researched food and drink things. He said it's one pure monk. It is like kind of the fell some kind of the snot, and it comes from the dirty from our nose. and he like kind of throw out in the ground, and then many pretas to catch that, and then it's like, but of course he couldn't get but he get a little bit this knot, and that's all he couldn't get. That is like obvious. Maybe may you think, this is the liar. Who can to eat my snot, my shit? Who can to drink my pee-pee? And this sort of, this is kind of the nonsense. It doesn't make kind of sense. And this is like a religious, but this is not really mysterious or the like not kind of saying exaggerations. You look, for example, in our toilet, most dirty. For we are, in our perspective, it's very disgusting. But we are sending in the tongue of in the toilet collect things, most dirty things, all whatever dirties come from. But they receive, there is some bacteria and some animals, even some mouses living in this water. For them, it's like kind of the wonderful, like a treasure. They're eating this and to enjoy it to there. And even they are expecting to receive more from us. And like this, whatever we are sending out from us, it's, for example, some are sentient beings eating that. Absolutely. And I make the joke, okay? Joke this. When I was in Ando, in the nomad, I look after many yaks. But sometimes in Ando, very much desert, some grass is like slowly disappeared. There's not much grass. And then yaks is not enough. But when I took yaks into in the mountains, and if they find the horse shit, okay, horse shit, and like wild donkeys shit, and horses. Horse shit is like horses never kind of again chew the grass. When they eat as much as chew, they eat it, and then it kind of cannot again. Most animals they put in the stomach. In the evening they like warm it up. They chew again, but horse and the donkeys they cannot. And then it's like their shit is like we call the rima. It's very much kind of the surround in like a Japanese rice bento looks like. And they like dye up like pipes of the dye in the mountains. And they are like, for the yaks, they find this one so delicious, they immediately eat. And for it's like very funny. Others like kind of cremating, or I think it's dirty, like kind of the snot, and like coming out. Others kind of the food, they enjoy it, and therefore in the Dharma, in the Buddha's like all the time sending. When we are like making shitting pee-pees, we have there's some special mantras, prayers, and we need to generate bodhicitta. Whoever to receive this kind of the dirty things, may they be quickly liberated. Of course, we are not giving it, but automatically. And also ourselves, I'm very sorry to say, when some our delicious food, it is also maybe other sentient beings' dirty things. Probably we are eating. And we think it's very delicious, but other sentient beings' perspective, they are human beings eating disgusting things. Maybe the other sentient beings and human beings eating our snot, our shit, our like kind of dirties. But different perception is inconceivable. And therefore, it is, of course, some pretas, even they can to get the human, like a kind of the snot, or shit, or pee-pee, or any kind of dirty things coming out. For them, it's like kind of, okay, like food, drink. And we can to think like this guy, the pretas guy, the husband of the 105 children's mothers. And 12 years he receives, like searching for the food. But there's one person's snot. And also like everybody that's maybe are running, go there. And also he can't get the full of that. It's a piece. But I didn't even get the much, he says, of that because there were lots of us fighting for it. Maybe he has such damaged. It is like there is the kind of crowd. And yesterday there's like there's one word, how do you call the like kind of the jostling, or I don't know. And means it's like there's no between, there is like very much crowding to run it. Like a little bit similarity of the Black Friday, you remember? They are fighting, they are like kind of beating and like one thinks of pulling each other. I mean, no, this is like kind of business propaganda, but really they're cheap or not. But it's humans, it's very funny, they're running. And also, as I saw once during the Black Fridays, and someone's got something that they're coming out from the shop, everywhere marked because they fight to get the things. They are not hunger ghosts, but sometimes this kind of happened. And it's like even in our human realms, it is some poor countries, and certainly someone's give like a kind of the soup, almost nothing inside. Some is a really nurturing food. Some is maybe rice soup, or maybe some vegetable soup, and they can't get some. They're running. Sometimes they are damaged, and sometimes they like kind of someone fell into the ground. Someone don't care and to only thinking about soup, and step on it, and they died for searching some food. This kind of really, even in the human realms, they happened. Maybe in some of you's perspective, I never saw that. I don't believe that you should to go to see really in the direct, some in the poor countries. Maybe this time I look at in the internet, look some in the India and the Nepal, some Bangladesh, and there is like, of course, most people is like survived. Every day you earn money, maybe $10, $20, $5. This one is earning money, they buy the food to survive tomorrow. If today you don't earn money, tomorrow no food. And then certainly this awful sicknesses arrive, then everybody's blocked. There is a kind of everybody need to go home. They cannot to pay for the bus ticket. They cannot to there's 100 mile. They need to go home by feet. No food, no water. If government also may be very poor, maybe they do their best, but what they can give to food. I remember it's like also when I was a child, it's very much poor. And of course, it's like almost many people died by the hunger. And I remember it's like my mom's, it's difficult to give food to find. Sometimes it's like she's searching in like some leathers. There's a leather is like maybe half is dyed up, half is not. But she's like to some it's like there's a little weight, not dyed, and this cut to put in the water and to make more soft and then boiled and long timers, and this juice is tried to give to the children. But it's like herself is don't care. But if children is complain, says, "Mommy, give me food," what the parents can give? There's no food, there's no drink. And of course, some countries, what they can do, they do best, but they in country. Of course, some countries, very much dictatorship, mafias, they don't think. Like sometimes same as we are. And for example, we are very much have like living in the pure land. And some of us, really good country, good land, civilization, and everything is fantastic, but we don't think about those sentient beings. Yeah, I am okay, I'm right. Then there's others, what happens? It's not really compassionate. Of course, we go really to direct to go to the help. It's very difficult, but mentally, maybe you can to concern it to this kind of situations. Send your sympathic, your prayer, your kindness, your recitation, mental prayer, compassion, realization, and to send to them, and such a kind of the help. Therefore, we need to. And during that, like a battle for the bit of the snot, to try to get the snot waffle. And the acharya added means it's like this Katayana. His acharya is like the masters. As the related to the story, the Pirita had been terribly wounded by the others. This guy, when he's like a kind of, he is crowding and to get a little bit piece of the snot. And he couldn't get because many hungry ghosts. Then it's like fighting for that. And that time, of course, also he's a lot of injured. And then it's like, of course, it's difficult to move for him. He needs to recover his body, and then he needs to find the food, then he needs to go back. During the 12 years, this kind of, maybe this is like a kind of serious histories, okay? I saw the last time the history of the one Africa guy. And he's a good swimmer. Of course, some Africa in some areas may be very much poor. And these guys wanted to make the comfortable and a little bit support and his families. I think it's like he crossed the ocean many miles. He swimmed. And then it's like finally he reached some Greece or some place. And then he's like kind of illegally immigrated. And maybe it's take a long time. Sometimes accept, sometimes not accept. The document is like this. He's like he went to some countries, maybe Germany, maybe some different, like Belgium or some, or Europe or America. I'm not really sure, but he said it's like in order to become the citizens or to get the permission of the worker permissions, is to get the maybe many years, 5, 6, 7 years. And then it's like he got this one, and then it's like he needed to really to work to save maybe more than the 10 years. After the 10 years, he has possibilities to send him money and but during these like years, his mom is died, his brother, sisters too went, someone's died. It's absolutely natural disasters. And then he's a complaint. Now I'm okay. I like kind of, I can to send money, I can do, but then where I can to send money? And like kind of beginning my purpose, I want to go to abroad and in order to help my family. And then it's like I went many years. After my family, someone died, someone's disappeared. And like this, even in the human realms, many this kind of happened, particularly in the poor countries. Of course, our rich families sometimes do. I have some friend of in our Europe. So, for example, some Poland. I have like one is like before. Poland has become the European Union. It's difficult to someone get there's a proper job. It's not that. After it's become the European Union, then many people can go to get the job in the different countries. They go to years to search the money and sending money. But of course, it's like under the disturbing emotions. They go to work and they work. During the work, wife or husband cannot go there. And children's waiting in the home. And they have another friends. They like kind of separation and ugly things, many situations. Also, because of that, we need to searching for the food, money, clothes. In the human societies, we do like this. of course, is the Puritas realms, the land. There are such lack of the food and clothes. And like this, and also it's like the Puritas, lot of like the mentally take open yourselves. Maybe it's like also these situations. Maybe you can to really to take, it's like you say it's like from the like core of your heart to think about these situations. Take open yourself the different torment and in the different state of the hunger ghost realms, and that afflict the Puritas wherever they are reborn, especially their hunger and thirsties. And hunger ghost realms, of course, is most problems, the lack of the food, drink. And of course, this is a result by our stinginess and avarice or something. And, like this. And here it says that think now much you suffer when you do not eat or drink just for a morning, how much we problems. It's just the truth. This morning is like if I don't drink something, then I'm screaming, cry, say, give me tea. I can't get my tea, the coffee. One morning, how much we are like struggling. And like this, there is like maybe 12 years, you imagine, maybe this sometimes happened. For example, someone is like problems, lack of the food, clothes. Someone says 3 days, 1 week I can't get like food, drinks. And like this, I'm just to make the human sufferings. When is the Chinese occupied in Tibet, then Tibet refugees came to in India. And there I heard there's called the Kalimpong. And there's a collective of the Tibetan refugees, they came. And then they tried to some food and like they working very hardly. But there, of course, nothing enough food and then. But someone is like so much hungry. In the front, it's like kind of a lizard is running. They pick up immediately alive they are eating. Because so much hungry. And this kind of situation, what can they do like this? Maybe we need to think about that. At the moment, everything is fantastic, very good, but this is not forever. This is not kind of the like, permanent. And this is like kind of the temporary and also impermanent and uncertainty, like many kind of happened. And also it's like those, one day the Tibetan, those refugees came to in India. Maybe when they are in Tibet, they are maybe very rich, very powerful. They never think about I may become like this kind of situation. But certainly this occurs. And then they understand the suffering of the hungry ghost realms. And like this, here it says, the Patrul Rinpoche, really, you should to really like think how much your sufferings and like kind of pick up and the sufferings seriously into your mind to think of them and practice maybe from your core of your heart and meditate on it, generate bodhicitta, how much suffering those our families look direct. And it's like even ourselves, one morning food, drink, can't get, how much we suffering. How would you feel if you were reborn in the place where it's like years you do not even hear any like kind of the mention of the waters. And also it's like one day, evening or morning, 1 or 2 days we can't get the food, drink, or the things, how much we are suffering. For example, in some many years, they can't get the drink and food, even the like kind of the heard name of the water or the food, how much they are suffering. We need to concern, and why we need to concern, we want to make liberation to them quickly, as soon as possible. And also, if we done some course in order to reborn there, we need to confess, to purify it. We never ever reborn again in this kind of the situation. We never ever don't want to have this kind of appearances or experience. And we don't want, and our families don't need to go there. Also, we want to make a liberation, whoever our families to theirs, reflect that the principal cause, what? To make the kind of the bring the rebirth as the pretas. At the like kind of the cause of the birth in the pretas, it says the stinginess and opposing the generosity of the others. This opposing in Tibetan is the nyerkit. There is one word, nyerkit, means, for example, in your thing, you belonging your things, you have such a kind of the stinginess. And also it's like you have like kind of the opposing. The generosity means, for example, someone's doing things, generosities, you are very much jealousy. You have very much kind of the, also it's like kind of the stinginess. And someone's making maybe generosity, doing the virtue things. And you have kind of jealousy and stinginess. Like the same as this, lady, the powerful Pritas lady. She has this, under her bed, 4 legs, and she tidy up there's each legs, there's a Pritas. And those are like kind of families. Some of our families making something good things, we kind of the stinginess. This lady, she made delicious food, want to offering to the Katayana. And then it's like they take jealous, stinginess by husband, son, daughter-in-law, and like this. And then it's like, this is we call the opposing. And then your kids, and like this. And also it's like the opposing. I don't know, it's opposite or opposing. Generosity of others. Sometimes it's like very much tiny your eyes, tiniest things. And we make joke, okay? And in the before where I live in my village or my these areas, there's one guy. He is never married, and he hasn't got any children, but he has 100 yaks. And then it's like, of course, he have a lot of slave and to servers. And then it's like when he's eating tsamba sack is coming, and he take a little bit. And you say, what do? You cannot eat something. No, but better to taking care, It is like, it's running out things, it's very easy. One person's, there's 100 yak. And he has a small sack of the tsamba sack. When he's eating, he cannot take like this big hand. Just like this, go to and this. And because it's a little bit kind of the taking care his things. And also after he is finished, and he's tidy up the tsamba sack, and then it's the knock, this rope, and he make the stamp. It's like ancient times you have some special glue, melt, and then you put, and then they knock did, and then they did something. Therefore he's afraid someone's thief his tsamba. And then there is in Tibet we say it's like his name is Ndugjas, Nyakshin Ndugjas, and he has 100 yaks. But on also the mouth of the tsamba sack, he has 100 stamps of his like seals. And these idioms, he's maybe passed away. It's the maybe millions years. This is liar. But some is like 100 years ago, but the history is still there. This we call the opposings. It's the generosity of others, and like kind of the very, very tiny. And according that, Then these pritas are the thyroid is like the size of the horse hair. Therefore, this result is the mouth is like the eyes of the needle. And because it's like so tiny, they want to touch it up, It is like kind of a little bit going there, something is coming here, running out. And therefore, it's like the how to say, result is like this, others. And we too have like a committed, so we too have the committed such acts innumerable times. It is true. Maybe we don't know. These times we are not in the Pritas land. We just can go to there, not infect, and we can go to sightseeing, like we are going to in the zoo. Maybe some in the zoo, those animals are such suffering. But when we are like kind of sightseeing, go to there with a camera, with your like kind of friend is carrying the ice cream and or coffee or something. That animals, that is kind of, you are laughing, you are like kind of fun with them, but maybe those animals in the cage, and maybe they have such suffering, they are not freedom. But we don't think about, yes, it's a very, and like this sort of, we are not sightseeing like in the Pritas. We are really way of the Buddha's way. Buddha, he like went sightseeing in the most poor areas, sick areas, and problem areas. And he see that he's crying, and he want to do something. And it's that moment he cannot to do nothing. Okay, maybe he can to bring all the palace things, give to them. But once he can give, truth can give, 3 times he can give. It's very difficult. And then it's like he wanted to something inexhaustible treasure forgive, like a kind of the uncontaminated, delicious, inexhaustible, and forever you can to use. As much as you can to use, that much you can to receive the benefit. And this sort of he want to get. The like kind of the contaminated materials to help today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Then it's maybe your own things is exhausted. And therefore he went to, it's like his own path. And it's so wonderful. And he discovered his true nature of the realities. And he gave to us inexhaustible food, the food of the Dharma. And this one is the wonderful, if we really to practice Dharma, to eat Dharma, the delicious food of the Dharma, we never need to go to there, we never become hungry. We can to also make the liberation of the hungry ghost animals. And otherwise, of course, it is like kind of in the past lifetimes. This time is but how many times we commitment to our disturbing emotion of the stinginess, opposite like this. And surely innumerable times we did. Maybe this course is not purified, still there is like a kind of our document. And in the file there is, it's like when you borrow money from the bank, and it's like there's a bank sending you the papers. And this one is still there. It's until you repayment, maybe bank of the Pritas, hungry cows, they send it to you. And even it's like a while, maybe it's like say, okay, this month, next month, this year you don't need to pay it, but anyway we need to pay back. Exactly like this is the same as the way karmic repayment. We done some negative things, there's no choice. And this is like our own responsibilities. And now we have very much freedom, and also it's like we can completely repay back in this life, in the single moment. We don't need to run, we don't need to collect. You can to recite, you can to easily to visualize, maybe you can to think about your true nature realities. Through this you can to pay back the such kind of creditors. And very easy, we are not doing. And it's like externally, like materials, we borrowed, we done something, took, committed, we to pay back is very hard. Even the like kind of the small amount of the things pay back is quite difficult. But it's like according the Buddha dharmas, if you practice dharma, its repayment is wonderful. It's the wonderful. If you maybe may you think, yeah, it's like I have debts and like kind of mortgage from the bank. I'm reciting every day, money payment, my financial is going down, money payment, income money is nothing, lost the job and criticized to me, money payment, where is money's help? It's the truth, that's the absolute truth. But it is like cause you today to create it is immediately, it's very difficult. I'm very sorry. And it's like when I'm hungry, it's like someone's give me delicious food. Food is on the table, but the hunger is still there. And I'm eating like here, and very delicious, grumpily I eat it. But immediately it's disappeared, my hunger. It's just, there is the possess. Maybe today you recited the monies, generative compassions. Immediately to change your karmic kind of the appearance is impossible. And like this, maybe but it's, the researcher of the karma, researcher of the causalities. When we look at this, there's causalities, maturations. There says first is black, the ending is white. First is white, the ending is the black. Maybe black and black, white and white. Do you understand this four state? For example, we can look in this word. Someone is maybe very much suffering, black, suffering whole life. And sometimes it's a purification. You're suffering. One is like purification of the past, the action. As much as suffering is exhausting to kind of the cause of the sufferings. Top of that, maybe you practice, recite mantra, generate bodhicitta, doing. Of course, it's difficult to result, but maybe at the end is white, happiness. And maybe it's like we can say, someone is white, doing nothing. And naturally you born, it's a kind of everything's perfect. Nice family, receive a lot of money, and it's like a food. It's like you are in the God realms, okay? God realm. You don't know what is this. I never put effort. It's naturally. Of course, this self has some cause. Without a cause, never will happen these situations. It says your life is white. Maybe top of that, you do not add any positive actions. Maybe this also you are like kind of enjoying. It's like kind of using this result. Maybe in the past, some you have some positive action, this result. This one slowly kind of exhausted, and you not added any positive things. The ending is the black. There is like white and black and white. And maybe it's the black and black. Someone is really like a kind of, I would say, butchers, some hunters, thief, robbers. Their life is not wonderful. All the time is sufferings. Problem, food, clothes, like a job, family's problem, a lot of problem. And beside that, they are killing, stealing, doing all the negative things. And also it's like a past result is negative. Now it's doing the negative things. The next is continue, there is therefore black and black. Someone is like white. It's maybe it's like kind of the white means very comfortable, wonderful like kind of human existence, account. Maybe it's like spiritual friend, good qualified teacher, practice Dharma, or maybe generate bodhicitta. It's not necessarily to become the Buddhist or to practice the Buddha Dharma, but very kind, compassionate, doing all the time positive things. And this person's life is wonderful, or that has a lot of humanity, human qualities, and doing the positive things. And also result is the white, and also future is white. And that is the main, is the white and the white. And what would you like to become? Those four kind of the logical things. And I want to say is like, it's a very, very much is the truth. I'm very much curious in our life. Some person's life, in the apple of the life is wonderful. The ending is Someone is like an apple of the life, is their childhood, there's something problem. But some in the middle start of the life is the comfortable, and maybe the next life. Someone's whole life is wonderful and no problem. Someone's like a whole life is suffering until they die. This is obvious even in our situations like this. Therefore, at the moment it's very fantastic, but continue to practice compassion, meditate, and to here is the pattern which I say like this. And how many times we commitment in the kind of the past, like kind of the numeral times we reborn again different state. Meditate on this way from the core of your heart. Wow, this sentence is I love. Like the best chocolate, It's really the core of your heart. Very much truth, very much pure, utterly the compassion heart. With the three methods, the generating bodhicitta, and non-conceptualization, and dedications. For the beginning, main, and part, and the conclusions. And like this. Do you have some questions? How many? 4. It is nothing. Okay. Then we can continue. And then that is the first part of the realm or the state or the country. We already, the Pretas country, we already traveled. And how much you got some experience, how much you analyze, do you understand really those countries, the Pretas country, Pretas realms, and seriously to checked, and like this. Now maybe we can to move. Are you ready? And the vehicle is ready, wheel is no problem, and technically is no problem. Okay, if you are ready, let's move to next a country. And it's called the Pretas who move through the space. They're like kind of the Egyptians, like Egypt, or something is like a kind of the traveling, move everywhere. There's no certainties areas. And of course, it's difficult to catch to them, but we can to catch. And once I went in the Lapland in northern Sudan. I want to visit some Lapland people, but they are moving everywhere. Summer place, winter place, to autumn, like this kind of. I couldn't catch around, but I just made 3 girls and making the business reindeer's horn. And that's all. And like this, but this time is our Dharma, the vehicle of the human cars. And quite strong. We don't need no problem. We can to reach. We can, and also do you have camera, and this microphones? Everything works. Maybe your camera to record some when we are traveling to research or explore, and this moving through the space Pretas. And those kind of different group or different ethnic, or I don't know. It's kind of aboriginal, the beings. Is we call the Zen, Jangong, kind of the Shende, Jombo, and Mamo say, and that is very easy. Okay, it's a ten means it's like a very special, like a spirit, and all those are the very, very much kind of harmful things. This is very much close our humans, okay? Very much close to the humans. How it is says like a kind of the we in Tibet we call the nut and yin. Nut yin, two word. What does it mean? Nut means it's like harming. And they can do harm to us. They can do harm to other sentient beings. But they are very much like living open the someone's offerings to kind of the gift. Exactly. In the you like kind of the in the Buddhist perspective, you're doing the fire puja and to doing the like kind of the torma offering, water offering, and like a fire offering, and all these kind of ritual things you giving to them. Like sometimes we give alcohol, and it's something. And this is like kind of, they are very much their life they can to get from the, we are dedicated to them. And then it means it's like kind of the very, very wrathful. If they are not happy or we disturb to them, they can to really to make, for example, they make certainly to mad and die or sick like this. And this then means it's like when they are travelers, like an army, and very much crowd going like this. And sometimes in the mountains, some like a path, road, it's very direct, never ever to green, like grows the grass. Even the mother green lands, these paths never grow up the greens. It really looks like some that we can't see. They are like going like this. And they are like kind of the army. They're going to like direct one by one. If we are asleep in the middle of the road, and they also have a horse, a rider horse. And sometimes we can to make scary things, and they fell down and they damage, then they can do harm to us. That is we call the ten. And also it's like, Jalbo means it's like a very much strong, powerful locals, and some like areas, they think, I am owner. And also this is like, if, some is like rituals, we call the gato and geto. And then we need to offer to this kind of tormas, says, please do not disturb to us. Maybe they can get, that's like kind of the jalpo, means the king, but not the human king, okay? This called the spirit's name. Shande. Shande is like half is dead, half is not dead. It's like kind of zombie, you can to say. And also they are like very much connected to the sometimes humans. It's very much harming to the others. And if you will give like a fire pujas and tomas, they can to get this kind of. Njombo means it's like kind of the very strange creatures. And like a kind of our imaginary, some in the film. And how do you say it? Looks like it's a very ugly, and it's like a scientific films, and some animals come from in the ground, and they eat you, but their mouth, hair everywhere is like ugly liquid is coming. It's like the modern science. They make this kind of animal. You never saw this, but they like kind of the imitating or like this, like a jellyfish, and this kind of everything. Like in Jombo is a little bit like this. Mamo is like a kind of spirit. Mamo is like most is a lady, and there's females. Though of course there's maybe male, but most is male, the spirit, the female spirit. And it's like kind of small, and they have very strange clothes, and also they can to disturb you, but not very powerful. And like kind of those kind of very, very, very much, they are all the time is sufferings. Here is like the kind of the throne and tirun. Tirun means it's like quite powerful, and tirun means it's like a little bit, sorry to say, the Mexicos people. And tirun has a huge hat, and a very big hat. And if they're wearing the hat, they can see all over the world. And then it's like they harm very tiny, and like this. There is like a history I can tell you. There was one guy, he wanted to make the friend of Tirun. If you make a friend of Tirun, you become the rich, they say. I'm not sure. How you can to make a friend? You go to some cave, ugly cave, you need to make gambling. And you like gambling, it says, call the name of the Tirun. You lost. And sometimes possible Tirun can appear. And then sometimes he can to show the hand, very strange. And then it's often you need to say that you lost. And then it's like suddenly appears coming. And then still you need to, you lost, that he took out the hat, and then he's very much excited. That time is you need to catch the hat. You take out the hat, this big hat, and then he cannot hide it. And he did like this. And then he said, give me my hat, we can become good friend. You can see me anytime. Okay. And then they traveled one place, and they make the middle tea. But they haven't got much to eat. And then the guy said, you are the ghost, Tirun. And to kill some beings, bring the meat. Said, that is not easy, but I can do it. And then a lot of sheep is coming on the mountain. Look, there's sheep, go to there, one kill brings. And then he's disappeared. And a few hours he come back, there's nothing. And then this human guy says, like, where is the meat? We need to cook. Don't worry. This is normal, our process. I made one problem, one sheep, maybe did some sickness. He will die, and then we can to get meat. You are not really goes, I will to get, can you give me your heart? And of course he give heart, and then this human guy, he will, nobody see, even the sheep cannot see. And he went to there and catch one sheep, immediately killed, brought with blood and coming. Here's the meat. And this Tirun was so scared. Everybody called, I am a ghost, but in reality the human beings a ghost. You are a ghost. How you can to deal like this? Like this kind, there's history. There's continue. I don't want to talk continued, but Tirun means it's like also this kind of, it's a part of the hungry ghost, but it's like sometimes we say it's like, of course, sometimes it's difficult to believe that this kind of some empty place. It is like sometimes we can to see. It's like sometimes, of course, not see it like this. So on all of home lives, they are like kind of each moment they can to like a kind of the hurting. It's like even they do their best, also it's like kind of the hurting to the other sentient beings. And like this, all the time, whom live out their life in the constant terrors, like kind of the terrified panic and hallucinations, all their lives. And also thinking of the nothing but evil, harm they would like to hurt. It's like kind of not really, where can I get food? Where can I to disturb to the sentient beings? All the times negative thoughts. They always do whatever they can do, they can to bring harm to the others. And many of them fell into the even lower realms, such as the hell, as soon as they die. And absolutely, when they are like kind of the died, it's immediately they are reborn. Because it's like in the past karma, they're reborn in this kind of hungry ghost realms. And their life is like kind of a lot of like harmy actions, physically, mentally, verbally, all the time doing the negative things. When Guru Rinpoche came to, in the Pema Sambhava came to in Tibet, many of them, they're like kind of very powerful because it's, in Tibet it's like more high attitude. There's such a different like kind of the shape, or it's like a signs of the earth, big rock, big mountain, like kind of jungle, and it's like snow mountain. And this kind of, they live in this kind of spirit. Most of them, they like Guru Rinpoche subjugated or captured, and kind of they give a big responsibility and samayas. Then they slowly kind of liberate their minds like this. Maybe those kind of the spirit, maybe it's like while help, like we can to say that what these things in Tibet, sometimes there's making puja, like we call the dharma practice things. And they'll give job by those great masters. They cannot do any evil things. They are like kind of working for the helping to the sentient beings. Of course, they are like kind of a spirit, and their life, their food and things all the times depends the others to how much give. Therefore, we like kind of offering session, offering kato, give ghetto, and torma, water, battle lamp, fire puja, everything. Okay, like this. And and how many do you have questions? Okay, not 3. It's no problem. And like this, then is the next paragraphs maybe same as you or mine, I don't know. In the particularly, every week they live, relive all the pain of the day preceding death from sickness. And of course, they are like kind of the living the bardo of the becoming. They are like kind of not really physically like same as we are, no body. And of course, they already lost on the past their body. And according to that, real life means it's like, again, it's like one is after 1 week after, they have feeling is like same as the previous life, body. And then they are like kind of, they're experiencing death process. And like kind of how they be sick, how they can to treat, how they died. All this experience they need to like kind of the relive or the revive or the revealing like kind of. Or maybe it's like they died by the war and like someone's using weapon and cut it, or maybe they killed, or maybe died by the sickness and many things. Evil force also they like died. Whatever it was happened in the past life, they need to experience. Of course, in these moments, these situations, there's nothing what they need to die. They're feeling like this. There's no physical body. No physical body, that is mentally, okay, you have a different like kind of feeling. But also I heard, there's this kind of the death process. But it's like same as we are not same as we are. There's like the death process of the 5 elements, the first dissolution, second inner dissolution, second dissolution. This sort of not they haven't, but some is like process there it. But reality is there no body. Really, it's like just a kind of the experience, same as in the dream, and like this. Okay, then is I want to ask the questions. Maybe, okay, maybe we can go to a little bit, okay? A little bit. You haven't got much questions, and therefore, and what they want to do is to offload the pain in others. When there are a lot of problems, they try to give to others, like offload. And of course, this is like your each individual, like kind of the responsibility, and each individual like kind of the karmic result. And of course, they cannot to offload to the others. Then of course they have such sufferings. So wherever they go, they do nothing but harm. But they still fail into themselves any good by it. Wherever they go, and there's a kind of nothing result to good things, like all the times harming, all the times negative result, nothing good by from it. And also it's like even when they happily visit in the periods, maybe they're like a formal friend, families, and loved ones, they only bring them sickness. When they go to like kind of maybe you want to hug, you want to like kind of something to touch, but of course this in the formal your friend, families, they cannot see you. If this kind of the ghost and the pretas touch, then this person is sick and kind of big kind of problems. The insanity and the others, insanity maybe is like become crazy. Certainly this kind of happened. I don't know in Europe, so sometimes in Tibet, someone is asleep some is like a strange place, maybe under the tree, rock, in the mountain. And certainly this person is become the insanity. At the beginning there's no sickness, nothing, but this kind of spirits. And of course nothing happened in the big city. It's difficult to say it. But also sometimes in the city you stay some different wrong place, doing something, it's dangerous. And like this. And also it's like other like the welcome sufferings. And it's of course it's like unwelcome sufferings means it's like a kind of very bad signs. And of course it's like we can to say it's like in our human societies. I don't know, maybe in Europeans. For example, when you are traveling, one black cat crosses the front of you. Say, no. In the Russian, it's most time. There is one student, maybe he's watching. His name is Alex. And some is a cat is from and very much kind of hesitated. Oh, hesitate is negative. No, positive, yes. And but it's like this kind of unwelcome suffering. Unwelcome suffering means some, maybe black cat is like naturally like this. Also, it's a truth, really. I have this experience. And maybe it's like a black cat cross, and maybe you need to stop there, drink tea, or maybe eat biscuit. If sometimes people do like this, because they imagine, that is like kind of the unlucky sign, black. Like this, those spirit and hungry ghosts, wherever they go, all the time others like kind of making the unwelcome sufferings. This is the pretas under the gorse, continuously like kind of this kind of torch. We should to kind of practice compassion, dedicate to them and the offerings. Okay, before we come to holiday, and there's questions.
Thank you. Agata from Poland asked, Dear Rinpoche, thank you with all my heart for giving these precious teachings. In the face of various world events, abuse by governments, violation of the rights of various social groups, destruction of the environment, etc., is it appropriate to engage in various protest actions? Or maybe it is better to focus on practice, like Ngundru, calming the mind, etc. As I am at the beginning of the Dharma path, and I'm an impulsive person, it's easy for me to become angry because of these injustices. Thank you for your answer.
Demonstration is, of course, is necessary. And this is our kind of the democratic countries. And also, the first time is our democratic peoples, we should to concern to choose compassionate, kind leader. And sometimes without analysis, we choose to follow up the who is famous, who is rich, who is smart. And this kind of through the desire attachment, through the something we choose. And then later it's like something problems we demonstrate a little bit like this. Of course, to others a torch to ours. Yeah, maybe it's a demonstration, is maybe some part of the maybe kindness. Maybe it's, of course, it's like a demonstrate, it's without anger or hurting something, some demonstration. You know, they say the peaceful relics, and the demonstration is maybe some part of good. But our in the Dharma perspective, of course, that is also not very good. And but it's like, what can we do? As you said, if not demonstrated, maybe some dictators, some is like kind of the selfishness, they all the time control, they all the time is making the problems to under the people. And if we are demonstrated, of course, also them very much sufferings. There such is occurred violent and hurting each other, beating each other, dying, killing, wars, this status. And therefore, I think it's better to be focus on practice the Dharma and generate bodhicitta to change our like kind of characteristic, nature of the like behaviors, and sending compassion is like a wonderful way. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Olga Amirova from Russia says, hello.
Hi.
Why does mind constantly cling to different things, even when there is no intention to fixate on them? How could one release this grasp? It seems the mind's like a preta with all these mirages of water and fruits. Thank you very much. Best regards, Olga.
Yes, it's true. Mind is preta. Mind, it also is like a hell. Mind is animal. Mind is human. Mind is demigod. Mind is God. Mind is also Buddha. And that depends that also mind itself. And if we just to let's like mind what it will want, to let's be or let's free, maybe mind doesn't want to do, because mind has very strange habitual tendencies. And therefore, maybe step by step, one by one, to correct, give nice education to mind, then maybe mind is never be preta, never be hell, never be animals. Maybe mind will soon be in the Buddha.
Thank you. Pavel Savish has a question. We talk about some creatures, pretas, nagas, mamos, and so on. We can't see, perceive, even modern science doesn't discover them. Why is it so?
Modern science I think they need kind of the supernatural camera, and like kind of the wisdom camera. And maybe it's some persons can to see them, but not materials cameras. That is obvious. It's true.
He follows up regarding the pretas. Aren't they quantum nature as people, animals, and 5 elements are? Maybe these are ancient tales to help understand some natural forces now explained on the ground of the science.
Yes, of course, this is a wonderful ancient philosophical or the analysis and education to understand this situation. Yes, that's true. But in the science perspective, they can to see some hungry sentient beings or not. They can to see some thirsty sentient beings or not. In the scientific perspective, there's no existence of the thirsty, hungry sentient beings, and then maybe not that's not existence.
Thank you. Dasha asks, which people's actions can disturb pretas too much? For example, I heard that the spirits do not like when glug plastic on the fire and so on. Maybe other people's actions make them particularly angry.
Yes. Do you know how many times you be with human existence? And also humans, sometimes we make angry, disturb to them. Which sort of the action, which sort of things to make the unhappy to the humans? Do you know? I don't know. If something I do, maybe some humans disturb, angry, but someone's not, more happy. Of course, there are some, it's like a certain some perspective to harming to or hurting, disturbing to them. But yeah, it's good, but it's all of them is maybe it's difficult to it. But you generate bodhicitta, sending compassion, kindness, then whatever you do, maybe they are happy, never disturbed. Okay, now is the time to stop. You have, okay, one question, okay.
Namka Lamo, Russia, says, Dear Rinpoche, could you please tell more about 8 classes and explain about Dud and La? La is not make bad for others, but it is also a hungry ghost.
Why you need to 8 classes. And there is a different type of the 8 classes. 8 classes is, of course, they are the part of the hungry ghost. And if you kind of the wanted the name of the 8 class, I can just tell you. 8 classes of the god and demons. They are the various descriptions, but in the sutta and the most general, you can to say 8 classes. I want to recite in is the Sanskrit. Or maybe you can to say it's like in phonetic, La, it is the divine, Le, it is the Nanga. As you said, the Nojan is the Yaksha. And in Tibet is the Traza, is the, in Sanskrit, Gandhavaras. It's a semi-eater. La Mainpa is the Ashuras. And then is the Nankardings, it's like kind of the Garudas. And like kind of there's we call the Mo Wam Cho, it is the Kinaras. And then is the one is, I think, last one is the, you call the, it is the Mahuragas. It's a Tonchi Chimbo. It is like a connect to the earth. These kind of the 8 classes. Of course, it's the same as this Zen and the Mamo and Jangon. And they are the Hunger Ghost Ralamas, 100%. And of course, there are some white and black. White is like more kindness, more can support, and we are giving like kind of sessions, kartos. Black is like wherever they go, it's a book says they're like unwelcome sufferings. And also it's like heart is all the time jealousy, want to harm, disturbed. And therefore sometimes we offering the ghetto, says, please don't stay here, go. And like this, there's 8 classes, it's like a kind of, okay, if they're happy, can help. But yes, it is in the part of the Hunger Ghost Ralamas. Thank you very much, all your questions. We need to rest, stop half an hour, and then you can come back at 11 o'clock, and we can continue to research. Thank you.